welcome to another Dragon Wilds video. Y'all seem to enjoy the last one, and I did mention at the end of that I was going to do a weapons and armor video as well. So, here we are, a full guide on where to find every special armor and weapon set in Dragon Wilds. A quick disclaimer before we get started, any quest related weapons, I did leave out the quest to avoid spoilers, but I did include where to start them and where they end. The crystal bow I think was the only exception since it's mostly just finding trees, so I show you kind of all the locations of those. So with that guys, let's jump on into our first one-handed weapon, the good old training sword. So the training sword can be found just outside the south side of the church on the roof. This one's pretty easy. You'll want to build yourself a path high enough and then use a wind step to jump up here and grab the recipe. This is pretty standard stuff for most of these, so be ready to have plenty of wind runes and wood available for most of them. So our next two weapons are actually farmable weapons, so instead of showing off the grind, I'll just show you the weapons themselves. The first being the Goblin Swing Slash is acquired from Goblin Packs, so this will be in your tier 1 and tier 2 areas. Following that will be the Skull Splitter, which is dropped by killing Garu. Someone can tell me how to actually say that, but Garu Berserkers in any tier 3 or tier 4 area. The recipe you're looking for is called a Cruel Goblin Blade and Remnants of a Shattered Skull respectively. Next up is the Chieftain's Blade. You're looking for a recipe called a Corroded Serrated Blade, which is located in a chest at the top of this mountain in Fractured Plains. This is a pretty tall mountain and require quite a bit of wind step usage, so make sure you have plenty of runes for this. You'll notice a vault once you hit the middle area, which will be important later in the video, but we're actually headed above this. So after building your trusty stairs and using wind step to reach the very top, there should be a little set of ruins which has this chest in it, which will contain your recipe. And I'm sure you noticed, as I mentioned earlier, there's actually one more area making 2 total things that will be of importance later. So I'd recommend building a lodestone here to come back easily, or you can skip to the chapters now listed on the screen so that you can complete them on your own. Moving on to one of the fan favorites, the Abyssal Whip. This can be made after defeating an Abyssal Demon. The earliest one I ran into outside of the Bloodblight swamps was actually in the Whispering swamps. You can also find one in the Fractured Plains, but focusing on the early one, to the far southwest of the Whispering swamps, you can fight your first one here. And as you can see, they really aren't too hard. In fact, I got lucky on this one as it got stuck, so with a little elbow grease, it was an easy kill. And now we're on to our last one-handed weapon, which is currently being called one of the strongest weapons in the game, the Dragon Bone Dagger. This recipe can be found in the Stormtouched Highlands Vault. This is located at the bottom of the mountain. Just follow the water up and you'll come across a thorny vine wall. Once you're through, you'll enter a cave. In the back of this cave, you'll see another small rock wall. Make your way through that and you'll find yourself with the vault entrance. This is another special one and will be relevant for another set which can be found at the chapter listed on the screen. But to avoid spoilers, the Dragon Bone Dagger will be found after you defeat the boss of this vault by interacting with this Dragonkin statue in the room. Moving on to the few, but I swear they're viable, two-handed weapons, starting with the Thane's Authority. This is just like the Swing Slash and Skull Splitter weapons and can be acquired by killing the Garu Thanes. So, as such, I happen to have actually had one prior to the making of this, so instead I'll show you guys what the moveset looks like so you can decide if this is a weapon for you. Following the Thane's Authority, we have the Granite Maul, which I swear reminds me of the Giant Crusher from Elden Ring, so if you're into swinging a giant rock caveman style, this might be the weapon for you. This is a quest related weapon, so instead of taking you through the quest, I'll show you where to meet Dork, which is right here in the Fractured Plains. Before you get started, I do recommend bring enough materials to build 2 lodestones so that you can TP back to him at the end of this, because it's quite far of a run. He'll give you the quest and ask you to visit this big castle, which is actually a special vault. To open it, you'll need to activate these special statues. If you look around the map, I added a little leaf markers on all 4 locations so that you can find them easily, but they aren't far, so feel free to look around a little on your own and you'll probably find them naturally. At the end of this vault, you'll need to fight 2 bosses, so be prepared as this can be quite tough for a solo. Alright, moving on to the ranged weapons, we're starting with the Wild Scout Bow. Earlier we mentioned during the Chieftain Blade that there were 2 more items in this area. This is one of those 2. The Scout Bow is located in the vault that we passed by earlier, at the end of that when you defeat the vault boss. Now keep aware that this is not a recipe. There is a Dragonkin statue right next to the final chest that you'll want to speak to in order to receive the bow. Now that you've finished the vault, we will return to the top of this very same mountain, back to where we got the Chieftain's Blade. You may have seen the blue tree here the last time with the glowing runestone next to it. Go ahead and interact with that to start the Crystal Bow quest. This one's super easy. There are 7 blue trees to walk to. They're all pretty close together. You might even be able to see the first one if you look down towards the tower from the top, but to make it easy, I've got a map on the screen with the location of all of the trees. For the most part, you're pretty much just heading east until the last few trees and then you'll head north. Make sure to interact with the runestone at each tree. If you do not interact with them, you will not be able to receive the bow at the final tree, and they do need to be completed in order, so follow from left to right of the map, then up. Next up is the Adventure Bow. This one is super simple and you can get it pretty early in your run. It's located back in Bramblemead Valley, in this little corner here. You'll need to make sure that you have an axe as it is behind some thorny walls, but it's simple enough. Use your wind step, jump across this little canyon, and make your way inside to grab the recipe from inside the chest. Alright, for these next two, it'll be our last ranged and first magic staff. Now I do apologize, all I have is this picture for the staff from the wiki because I'm not kidding. I have grinded strictly for the staff for about 48 hours now, and I've gotten every other drop at least 5 or more times, but this staff will not drop from druids for me. So apologies on lacking that footage for y'all, but these are both farmable weapons, with the bow coming from Garo hunters and the staff from the Garo druids. I'll also just add in here, I cannot tell you how much I absolutely hate farming the druids with the fact that their abilities deal 4 HP a second damage and take like 80% of your health. It's so annoying if you mess up at all. Some extra information though that's useful if you're also farming these guys. They do respawn every 2 to 3 in-game days and are at a drop rate of about 2% for those needed recipes, so be prepared for it to take a while. Following those, we have the Draconic Staff, which is probably one of the easiest to grab as it's just outside the northern wall of the Dragonkin Vault, and this is the vault that we visited earlier for the Granite Maul from Doric. Alright, and our last staff to cover is the Staff of Light, which can be found early game just above the church at this Runecrafting Guild, but before you go running straight there, you'll want to visit the vault just below it. Inside here, there will be a Dragonkin statue that will bestow upon you some knowledge. After you visit that statue, then return to the top of the hill and look for this statue in the area. After interacting with it and giving it the password, you'll receive instructions to fill an orb by reaching the 3 towers. Now I'll speed up the footage here of how I got around, but honestly this will be much easier if you just build some stairs to each tower and use wind step to get up and down. After you've visited all 3 towers, you can then return to the statue and receive your Staff of Light. Alright, and now we're on to armor sets, where we're actually going to start with the Leggings of Lightness, which can increase your carry capacity by about 50 points. We actually went over this in our previous video covering tips for Dragon Wilds, but in case you didn't see that, I'll suggest it at the end of this video. These leggings are located by our initial meeting spot with Venica at the top of the windmill, where we had to fight the giant rats, and as usual, just build some stairs, use wind step, jump up to the top of it, and go ahead and grab those leggings. Alright, and on to our last 3 armor sets. These are all located in vaults, so instead of guiding you through those, I'll showcase the armor and quickly show you where each of them are located on the map. Starting with the Paladin Set, located at our good old Fractured Plains, in the same vault as the Scout's Bow. You'll get this from interacting with the Dragonkin statues hidden inside this vault. The Wild Archer set will be located in the Bloodblight Swamps vault, and will be acquired in the same manner by interacting with the statues that are hidden within that vault. And our last set is the Dragonkin Mage set, which is located in the Stormtouched Highlands vault, following the same method of acquisition as the previous sets listed. And that will be where you can find all of the armor sets all at once, and with that, we'll go ahead and jump on into the capes. Alright, and for our last category, we're going to go over the capes, starting with the Pioneer's Cape. This one's achieved just from playing during early access, so if you have the game now, or if you've acquired the game during the early access phase, then you should have this already available to you to craft at the workbench. Following that, we have this Brambled Cape. This one's back where we got the Staff of Light. On that big middle tower, there were actually 2 chests that you passed by. If you grabbed the first one, great, but that didn't have the recipe. Just above that, at the very, very top of the tower, you'll find another chest where you'll find the recipe for this cape. Next will be the Whispering Cape, which will be located at the Whispering Swamps at the big waterfall at the very bottom of it. And in case you're lost or you're looking for the big waterfall, if you've come across this large land bridge here, then it's just at the bottom of that. Then we have the Fractured Cape, and this will be located, of course, at the Fractured Plains, and this one's at the bottom of a mountain behind a small Garu camp, so make sure that you pay close attention because there are 2 chests here, not just one. You're looking for the second one that's tucked behind the big rock behind the camp, not the one that's in the middle of the camp. Next up is the Stormtouched Cape. This one will be located at the big ruins at the top of the Stormtouched area. There's a few ways to get up here as usual, but I'll recommend building some stairs or platforms however you need to get onto the wall and make your way to the very back. Once you're looking at jumping into the highest point, you'll want to jump into the top of this castle here, or this ruined pillar, and find the recipe in the chest there. Moving on to the last region is the Bloodblight Cape, which of course is located at the Bloodblight Swamp area. But this one, you're going to want to bring some anti-poison potions for the environment, and you will need a pickaxe as it is behind a destructible wall. Once you reach the top of these ruins, clear out the area, you'll use Wind Step to jump up to the side of this wall here, and you'll use your pick to break down the wall, and it'll be in the chest just inside. Now these next two capes I'll showcase since they're quest related capes, and to avoid spoilers, but the Garo Highborn Cloak and the Goblin Warbanner Cape can be acquired by completing the quest for Vanica in the Stormtouched Highlands located here. And for the Warbanner one, you'll need to complete the quest for Zanik called Goblin Diplomacy. She is located here. Once you're done with these, you'll acquire the capes from them after you've done the quest. The last cape in question is the one that you've seen through most of this video. It's the DragonBanes cape, but this one was for alpha testers who completed all challenges during the closed testing phase. And last but not least, the Dragonblight shield. This is acquired after you defeat Velgar. You'll return his head to the Old Wise Man, who will then give you a recipe for a dragon visage. This is attached to the anti-dragon shield, which you find within the Whispering Swamps. It is worth mentioning that the wiki does say that the anti-dragon shield is also a reward for killing Velgar as well, so you can skip the Whispering Swamps vault if you decide to kill Velgar early. Alright, and with that guys, thank you very much for watching. If I missed anything, please leave it in the comments down below. If you liked the video, hit that like button, it would mean the world to me. And of course, if you didn't, feel free to tell me why. Though I will cry myself to sleep tonight if you do that. So keep that in the back of your mind before you roast me. But if you did enjoy this video, you might enjoy the previous video, which is 11 minutes of tips for Dragon Wilds. But with that, if you have any other suggestions or ideas for me, please let me know in the comments as well. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one.